goodness. Man, I feel like making this video because it has been happening a lot lately. Like, I be going through my timeline and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to say something because this was me.
And always remember, it's not a rough life, it's a rough moment.
You will get past it and you will own it.
Oh, hey, motivators. I got a good story for you guys. As you guys can see by the title, man, oh man, it's crazy. Disclaimer, I am a U.S. citizen. I was born in Dodge City, Kansas, raised in Iowa, and of course now I'm living in Chicagoland. But yes, I wanted to tell you guys that I am fasting, and while I am fasting, I am drinking infused water for lemon. Oh, I love lemon water, and you guys can see I put a lot because I love the taste. So I am fasting for now, maybe 16, 7 hours. I'm trying to do 20 today. I've been slacking a lot. If you guys don't know about fasting or intermittent fasting, when you fast on a schedule, the link will be in the card above. I'll say below, or maybe below in the description too if you don't find it in the link in the card above. You guys can also get your Get Motivated With Me merch. I know this one is backwards because I wanted mine to be different. You guys will be the right way, and I can get about anything, any kind of apparel that you guys want. I am also selling the labels separately for you guys as fajas. I got the labels for you, 10 bucks. The shirts normally range around 25 bucks depending on all that. Just let me know and I got you. All right, let's get into this. Man, oh man, I haven't thought about this in a long time. Like, okay, how it started was in Iowa, where I came from. They don't give out I didn't have an ID, okay? I didn't have an ID, I didn't have a school ID or nothing like that. And I didn't want to take my social security card down when I was going to visit Texas. I didn't want to take my birth certificate because I'm like, what if I get robbed? You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to put my papers in risk. And so I didn't take anything like that. My husband, at the time, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend. I was 15 years old. And he invited me to go down to Texas with them. And where his family, his grandma and his brother lived, it is in Brownsville, Texas, the Valley, El Valle. Down there, like, the border is like, we went downtown a few times. In downtown Brownsville, you could see like the border, you could cross it, whatever, you know. You can't cross it just walking though, you know, you have to go through the gates, all that. So we went on a bus down to Brownsville, Texas, and that took like 3 days. I don't recommend to go on a bus when you travel because it sucks. It sucks. Sometimes the buses don't got AC. It's very uncomfortable. You have to spend the night and you hear other people. Like, yeah, it sucks. Might as well just go alone. Just drive yourself because you'll end up there in 24 hours. I think that's how much it took us to get down there. It was like a whole day. Well, when we went on our own time, not when we went on the bus, because that took 3 days. See? 1 day compared to 3 days. Like, come on, just go in your own vehicle. We went to Brownsville, Texas to visit his grandma and his brother, his older brother. On the way back, because since we're in a bus, on the way back, we have to stop through security, border patrol. We had to stop through, I think, 2 or 3. And I was over here, like the first one that we stopped by, hold on, they come in, like this is every stop, they come into the buses, they check all the baggage, they check probably to see if anybody's in there. They come in, they question everybody, they have like this handheld little computer little type thing. It's not even that little, it's like about this thick, this big, this thick, and they're typing stuff in, and just like they're like, okay, social security, birth certificate, they're asking for identification, ID. I don't even remember what exactly they asked for, but I just remember they did. I think my mom even wrote me a letter, if I believe, like that she let me go over here. She put like, yeah, she wrote me a letter and she put like where I was born and like my information, because the fact that I didn't want to bring my documents, because I'm like, no, I'm not, or I don't even know if we had them at the time. I think we did. Yeah, we did. It's just, man, a long time ago, and that's just, I remember my mom having a letter for me. And I didn't have an ID at the time. I should have just gotten an ID. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I just didn't think about everything. So yeah, they walk in, they did all that, and I was over here nervous because I'm like, oh fudge, like I don't got nothing. And then what was even worse is they would start asking me like, okay, well you don't have your stuff, like where were you born? So I told them where I was born. Do you know what hospital you're born? And I was like, no. And at that time, my cell phone wasn't even like, I don't know, of the cell phones of today. So it's not like I could, oh, and it was like in the middle of the night. So I wasn't like able to call my mom or anything like that. Did I even have service? I don't remember what was going on. I just remember that it was me, my sister-in-law, my husband, and my suegra. They were helping me, and even my suegra's like, she came with me, we're from Iowa, and you know, like backing things up. The first stop, they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna let it go because she looks decent, that she's clean or whatever. Look, I say, I don't know what they're thinking. But that's the thing, is that every stop that we had, they couldn't find me in the system. So I was over here like, oh my gosh, like how can you not find me in the system? Was I lied to as a child? Did my mom really, like, what? Who am I? And like, you know, they couldn't find me, and I'm like, I'm for sure was born here. My mom told me I was born here. I was born on this day. They couldn't find me. I don't know if it's because their system, because shoot, I know for a fact now. I went and looked at my birth certificate. I know I'm from the United States of America. They couldn't find me. So I don't know if it was the third stop or the second stop that they came in, did their questions, brought out that big old thing, searching my name, asking me 100 questions. Like, why don't you have an ID? And I was like,
I don't know, our school doesn't give out school IDs.
It's like, I didn't have no identification to prove that I was a U.S. citizen. And of course, my English is good, but there's a lot of people that come when they're children. It's not even their fault, you know. Their parents bring them, and they know English. They've never been to Mexico before. They're freaking, basically, they were raised as Mexican Americans, but they're just illegal because their parents brought them, and over time, they haven't been able to fix their papers. I don't know the case. There's always a bunch of different cases. Sometimes people don't have enough money. Sometimes it's just people are very negligent. I don't know. They probably thought I was one of those kids. Didn't have papers, but I was raised here. It's like, nah, bro. Like, I'm trying to prove to you that I was raised here. So, what ended up happening was that they asked me to get off the bus. Whew, at this time, I'm like, oh, I'm getting deported. Like, I don't even know what to do. I've never been to Mexico. Okay, I always say I've never been because I have when I was little, but I hardly remember. But I've never visited Mexico to the point that I remember, that I enjoyed it, that I have like been there on vacation. Like some of my friends, they would go every year or something like that. Wasn't me. So I'm over here like, fudge, like I don't know anybody who's in Mexico. Yeah, my dad's side of the family, they're in Mexico. I don't know them, and they're like all the way in San Luis Potosí. Like I don't know where that's even at. If I look at a map, I do, but I don't know what direction I'm going. Yeah, my mom and her family, like we're all up here in Chicago. All my mom's side is in Chicago. All my grandma's brother and sister, she brought all of them. My grandma's the oldest. All my tias and tios, like they're here. So it's like, what in the world am I gonna do? I'm gonna get deported and I'm a U.S. citizen. Like, oh my goodness. So I get off the bus, right? And he brings another Border Patrol guy. And they're over here like, so, man, I hardly remember, but they were asking me a ton of questions. And that's when they asked me like if I had a school ID. So I was nervous, so I was talking a lot. I talk a lot normally, but I was talking even more. And I was like, I live in Columbus Junction. Oh, so when I went down, I took all my stuff with me because I thought I was gone. I thought I was leaving. I thought I was going. My suegra, my sister-in-law, my husband, my boyfriend at the time, they were all looking at me through the windows, and I was just looking at them like, oh, bye guys. I was looking around too. There was people sitting down. They were probably waiting to get deported or something. It looked kind of like a bus station, but it wasn't, because that was the Border Patrol. So some people were like laying down sleeping. Some people were just like sitting there, and I was like, that's gonna be me. Like, I don't even know. I don't even think I had a phone at the time, actually. Like, I had a phone, but I don't think it had minutes or... There you go. It didn't get service down there. I didn't have service down there because at the time I had iWireless. It's a branch off of AT&T, I think. Yeah, something like that. That's what I had. It didn't reach down there. That was the problem. So I was like, fudge, like how's my mom gonna know? Like, well, my suegra, I would probably tell her, but like, what is going on? So I'm over here trying to answer the Border Patrol's question. And they're like, okay, so we can't find you in the system. That's so weird. I just kept talking. I was like, well, or no, they were asking me about my life. Like, so you're from Iowa? Where in Iowa? Because that's so weird. And I was like, oh, Columbus Junction, Iowa. It's really, really small. You guys look it up. Look up the population. Even people in Iowa haven't heard about it sometimes. Oh, usually people above 12 years old have a school ID. I was like, well, my town is so small, they probably don't even think about it. I think we did like in middle school, but it wasn't like a thing to catch up on. I was already in high school at the time, and I was 15, right? So if I was in a bigger city, I would have had like a school ID at least. But you know, I didn't. So they were just like, well, that's weird that we couldn't find you in the system. And then so they didn't know what to do. They were like, so what do we do? They were probably already deciding to deport me. Oh my goodness, like what would I have done? I'm a minor. I was a minor in that moment. My mom's all the way in Iowa, my dad in Kansas. What was I gonna do? I was gonna be left there. What in the world? My husband says this is what saved me, and it probably did, because I had all my belongings and they were like, oh, where are you from? And I was telling them like, what do I do? I was like, oh, I go to a church over there. Oh, it's because I was telling them what was around the area. It's a really little small town, then you go like 20 minutes more and it's a really small town. Oh, and we go to church there, and I had like a little pamphlet of that church, and it had the direction y todo, Washington, Iowa. So I was like, oh yeah, here. And then I started talking to them about God, like, oh, okay, like you're around here. I was like, yeah. And then like I guess they bought it, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna let you go back on the bus. And I was like, ah! I was so anxious, and I was telling my husband, like when I went to go sit back down there, I was like, what was I gonna do? Like I was gonna be here left alone. And that's when he was telling me,
no, I wouldn't have left you alone. I would have gone with you.
I'd be like, just because I'm getting deported, you don't gotta get deported too. We're all U.S. citizens. They're originally from Texas. Like, they're not from Mexico like my side of the family. My mom's from Durango. Like, they're from Durango. My dad's from San Luis Potosí. Like, no, they're from Texas, where Texas was Mexico. Like, that's my husband's family. Man, you guys, that was crazy. And now I'm hearing stories that people are getting deported and they're U.S. citizens. Like, oh my goodness. I hope this video helps somebody. I don't know if it would help anyone at all, because it was like a miscommunication back then. Like, I could have been deported. I bet if it was today, like this year, I would have been deported. I would have been by myself, on my own, in Mexico, wondering what the heck. Because also, you guys, I'm not that fluent in Spanish. The time that we did go to Mexico, what I do remember is I went up to a guy to buy ice cream, and I told him I wanted ice cream, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta speak Spanish. It's just like so mind-boggling that this is going on. Even kids that have been here their whole life, that don't have papers. Like I said, it's not their fault that they're over here. It's just sad that they can get deported to a place that they don't even know, that they're not even familiar with. They probably don't even know anybody there, just like me, just like I was. Just the fact that I have papers here, I'm a U.S. citizen, doesn't change the fact that those papers, it's just crazy how papers signify where you belong. Where you're originally from is where you have to be. But these kids over here that been here their whole lives don't even know Mexico. They have to get deported to a place that they don't even know. And minors too? Come on now. Come on now. It's crazy. Comment down below what you guys thought about this video. And don't come for me, please. And also, another thing is, ex that we used to have, her mom was still really cool with me, and when I used to work at the Mexican store, she came up to me and she gave me a little card. I don't have that card anymore, but she's with the movement of like helping with ICE and stuff, and she says that one thing you should not do if ICE comes to your door, do not answer the door. Even if you are a U.S. citizen, do not answer the door. You do not have to answer any questions. You do not have to open the door. You do not have to do any of these things that they want you to do, because once you open the door, you're inviting them in. And then you start answering questions, and who knows, you could say the wrong thing and that could be the perfect thing for them, and they just take you. Careful what you guys doing. We all have human rights, and be careful out there, my Hispanics, all of my non-U.S. citizens, because there's not just Hispanics that are fighting for this, okay? There's Haitians. I've seen some Haitians getting deported. There's Indians, Asians, everybody, okay? Everybody that isn't from here. I'm sorry. You know what? In the end, we're not all from here, so shoot. What? This shouldn't, I don't know. this is probably like contradicting, but the United States should just be accepting of everyone and just of the bad people. Just tell the bad people. Man. I hope you guys like this story time, and remember, it's not a rough life, it's a rough moment. You will get past, you will own it. Stay solidified!